Hello and welcome to the Fishing Guide Podcast. We are at a fireplace. We're at the Crappie Compound. We are in Mississippi. And look who showed up all the way from Kentucky. Mark Ridl's here with Cornfield Crappie. And he's got lots of stuff to talk about. So forget about me. Mark, tell us.
Glad to be here. And thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Start with a little history in case some people don't know about the history of your company.
The whole cornfield thing, everybody asks, how did you get cornfield? Well, I grew up in Rossville, Illinois, East Central Illinois, and it's pretty much corn country. So we started to make a web page and was trying to figure out what to call it. And I was texting with some good friends of mine in Kentucky, and I said, I don't know what we can call it. I'm in the middle of cornfield trying to make crappie gear. So we said, there it is. So we used that, and we kind of rebranded a couple years ago to Cornfield Fishing Gear.
Right.
Because we're making stuff for walleye fishing, cat fishing, crappie fishing.
Right.
A little bit in the bass world. They're a little bit slower on what we do, but they're picking up the live scope stuff that forward-facing sonar, as you know, is taking over the world. So we can mount that on just about anything, about every way. There's a lot of companies that's doing a lot of things, but we can do any way that you want to put it on your boat.
Right.
We can do it, and we got a new one coming out.
All right. Well, should we tease them? We're going to make you wait at least a little longer until we talk.
Number one, we can put it on a trolling motor like the Terrova and the Alteras. It's really hard to put it on it because you can't strap it to the shaft. Right. So we made a deal on that. And my good friend Ricky Culp kind of helped me design that. One of my buddies from crappie.com. I know you do work for them too. And so we come up with a way to do down image and side image transducers. And then when the live scope come out, we were able to use that technology and make it a little bit bigger and make it work. Well, then we wanted to put it hand operated, so we done a hand operated scope.
Right.
And we were buying a mount overseas, and I didn't like it, and then we couldn't get it through COVID, so I sat down and designed our own. And it's a little bit overkill, and it's a little bit more than what you need, and it's a little bit more expensive than what you can find on the internet, but it's built to last. And we make all of it ourselves. It's all CNC machined aluminum. So we got an over-the-side mount with our hand scope in it, so you can turn it. And we had the first motorized turret at 2019 at Wally's first
Crappie
Expo. We had it there, so we've been making that since 2019. There's several out there, but we're proud to say we're the first ones to have one on the market. So we can do remote control, foot controlled, we can do hand operated, and we can put it on the trolling motor.
Wow.
But we got one more.
You got one more. Is that the new one?
Yep, the new one.
Yeah, but before
wait? All right, so
let's just wait.
Right. So that's the ways you can do it right now.
Right now, but here in about 6 minutes, you'll know the next one. Tell me, so you have a shop that's in Kentucky, and so you'd been there and you had it established.
Well, I was in Illinois. I started my machine shop in 97.
Okay.
I got my first job in a machine shop in 82, so that's how long I've been cutting.
Wow.
And I started my shop on my own. I didn't have one handed down to me or none of that.
Right.
I started it with one machine in my garage.
Wow.
And I bought a couple more machines and was working a job and doing it on the side. And then in 97, for some reason, I quit a perfectly good job with benefits and all that stuff, and I went out on my own, and it's been an up and down struggle. We were tied to automotive pretty heavily in Illinois, and we've done a lot of that for years, and it got slow again, and I'd met some guys through crappie.com on Kentucky Lake, and I decided I needed a boat, so I went and bought a little aluminum boat, and I made some things I needed, and that was like 9 years ago, and now here we are. It's amazing.
But as all businesses, they sometimes have some turmoil, and sometimes they got some wind. And you all got some wind, didn't you? Tell them about that, because it's like rising from the phoenix,
a year ago, last December, we were part of the tornado that hit Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, all the way through Indiana.
Straight to the shop.
We were pretty lucky. We lost a garage door that was laying on the floor, and the rest of the garage doors was heavily damaged, but we didn't really lose any content.
Right.
My neighbors across the road had some house damage and this and that. There's a storage place across the street. They had campers and boats rolled over through the and then at my house, I lived just down around the corner and down the hill from my shop. We were pouring concrete. My guy was pouring concrete, and he had the orange cones out there because we had 2 more pours to go.
Right.
And I want you to know that next morning when I got up, those orange cones was still there.
Still there.
Amazing. So then we got into Polaris and we went for a little ride. Well, that night, I'd got a call that, I was in bed. I got a call that it was coming. We got up, took cover. Then I got a call that we had damage. I run down there. We fixed that. And then we went to help the neighborhood because there were so many trees all over the road, and there was people actually trapped in their homes, and we couldn't get EMS to them. So we were a whole bunch, the police department, the county sheriffs, everybody was out there cutting trees. We helped do that. But the next morning we got up and decided to go daylight, going to go assess the damage. Right. And we took that little short cruise, like maybe 500 yards from my house. Up on top of this hill is Cambridge Shores, and it was gone.
Wow.
Yeah, they're still building it. I mean, it's coming back beautiful. We don't have the beautiful trees we had, but there's a lot of beautiful homes coming back there, and it's going to be a great place again. But, yeah, we're lucky.
There you go.
Yeah. If it would have tore up the shop, I'd be retired right now. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of people don't want to hear that. Just so you know, Mark.
I'm too old to start over, so we're lucky.
Let's talk about the new one. Let's talk about it.
All right, so but we can put all your graphs too. So we got all the mounts to mount those in every direction you can think of. We got solid ones, we got short ones, we got tall ones, we got some that rotate, we got some that telescope, bridges, this and that. But we're still coming up with more ideas and more things to do.
Right.
So I've been working on this one for almost 2 years.
Wow.
In my spare time and trying to put parts together and couldn't get what I wanted. And finally, through a customer, I was talking to about what I was trying to do, and he told me a place I needed to look at. And I found a company that makes cable that's like flexible.
Right.
And a housing. So now we have a tube, like we got our hand scope tube.
Right.
We're mounting it on the trolling motor with the mounts that we use to put the live scope on the trolling motor. So we're taking all these products that we got into pieces and parts from this and that, putting it together. So now I have a flexible hose or a flexible cable inside of a hose that goes up to this shaft that's mounted on the trolling motor, and it comes back to a knob that's mounted on your graph. Then you can turn the knob and turn your live scope.
Oh, wow. What a great idea.
It's been pretty cool. It's been a pretty cool project to play with.
So when will that be available?
We've got a few out now, and I got 100 of the cables on order, and we're gonna do a production run of 100 of them here in the next couple of days. Well, we're already started making our parts, but we're waiting on those.
Right.
We got 30 out that we tested and I got some pro staff guys using them, getting feedback and seeing what we need to do. But it is unbelievably smooth.
Wow.
That's what I was working for.
How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
So let's talk. What is the most popular mount you sell? What would be the number one?
It's a cross between 2 of them. It's about a 50-50 of our what we call our swivel telescoping mount. So you can loosen it at the base and rotate it, because everybody knows you have issues with glare on your screen. So you can turn it a little bit to fix that, and it telescopes up and down.
All right.
Well, the other one is the one we done, and I don't remember when was we at Branson the first time at Wally's
been
Expo.
3 years.
So 3 years ago we done this one. We call it the folding mount. So it's got a gas shock in it, and it holds it up, and then you pull your unit down, and it folds down to the floor of the boat, and it's got a pin that latches it. So you can have 2 units on it. You can do a single or a double, and when you fold it down, it's not any taller than the trolling motor on stow position. So it's a safety thing.
Right.
Because I know when we were at Branson the first time, they had a couple near misses. It was fog and this and that, and the units are hard to see around and all this and that. So we done that, and I'm pretty proud of that one. That's kind of a safety feature, and that's a big seller also.
What do you think is your biggest accomplishment of all the mounts that you've done? Which one do you think that kind of sticks out in your thing? Like, it may not be the one that costs most or costs the least, but which one to you is like, when I look back and someone says, we love this, you'd say?
Probably the folding mount, because we worked on it as a group in the shop. All the guys had input on it, and it was a safety thing. And that was just, I don't know, that's probably my favorite one. There's a lot of components to it. There's a lot to makes it work, and it stands up, it folds down, it does all this and that. Now we can make it swivel too. We've made a new piece to add to that to make it swivel.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, we keep adding on. We're like a huge erector set. You just keep adding pieces and parts and changing things around, so it's fun.
Give us some ballpark figures on mounts. Like, what's the cheapest? Which one's the most expensive, and which one?
We got just like a single regular solid mount. I think it's in the 150 range, and then the double folding mount. And it has to be on a bridge to get some height on. I think it runs like 5'10" or something like that. So we got everything from a 4-inch tall mount all the way up to a 16-inch tall mount, and it just it never seems to end. We just keep adding.
How about mounting them actually on the bow of your boat? Tell us a little bit. Do people have to have plates or anything underneath? What
some of them are using plates. What most of ours is we're using a bridge to bridge over your trolling motor. Look at where your trolling motor pedal goes, or we just got bases that mount directly to the floor.
And underneath, do you recommend?
Yeah, we offer a kit we call the underplate. And if the customer buys the mount and buys the underplate kit comes with all the bolts that are stainless, the lock nuts, and everything they need to put all that together. The plates are drilled to match the base, and basically that is the best way to do it, is to sandwich your deck with a plate on the bottom and the mount base on the top, and that's the way to go.
All right. So the question is, do you go fishing out of that little green boat that you take to all the boat shows? If you haven't been,
actually, it's orange. A little orange boat. It's 8 foot long and about 3.5 feet wide. And I wish I had $1 for every time somebody asked me that question, because I would be retired. Everybody at the show is like, "Where do you sit? What do you do?" When we built that. We built that to go to Hot Springs to the Crappie Expo, and I was hustling putting it together. I bought this boat off of a young kid in town. It was like 14 feet long.
Yeah.
So I cut it down, and this is the first time I really done any of the videos and pictures that I was posted on Facebook. I'm a little old for that, so I don't post everything I do,
Right.
So I'm posting this, and people were just tearing me up. That's stupid. That thing's going to be unsafe. Nobody knew what I was doing. It's a daggone wagon. I put it on wheels. We rolled in and out. But we're retiring it.
Oh, what?
Well, she's falling apart.
This is hot news.
Yeah, she's falling apart. It's actually breaking apart. We've had to plate it and everything. It just gets so beat up in the trailer. We run a lot of miles to shows. I mean, we go to a lot of places. And this is hot news. We have partnered with Sea Arc on a bunch of stuff, and we're doing accessories and making mounts for Sea Arc boats.
Okay.
You'll see some here. The new Flex boat, we make all the mounts for that.
Oh, really?
Sea Arc has built us a Sea Arc boat that's a show boat.
Wow.
It's a little boat, little short boat, little narrow, and we're going to put some wheels on. I think I'm going to build some cabinetry to go underneath of it so we can put some more stuff in it. And we will have a Sea Arc show boat. It's pretty exciting.
And you know what? You should just make sure you get $1 for every person that asks you, does that Sea Arc float?
What was really crazy,
you need to get like John Goodwin to sit in it. During the
he
show.
might be able to stand next to it. The dog's in it now. You remember my dog LaRue? The guys from Sea Arc brought the boat in. They brought another boat in for us to do mounts to figure, and they brought that boat in and set it on the floor. And old Rue jumped up in there and laid down. And figured, well,
there you go.
It must be good. It's Rue approved. So
that's funny. So, do you get to fish? That's the question.
A little.
All right.
A little. And actually, I got a guy working for me that was running the Crappie Masters division in Kentucky.
Right.
Scott Waldrop works for us at the shop now.
Okay.
We got Big Dean McCoy. He's retired now, and he's doing a lot of fishing. And I hired a fellow by the name of Jake Nally. He's into the catfishing tournaments and stuff like that.
That's good.
And when I get home from here, we've decided that Wednesday nights we're bringing boats to work, and Wednesday night after work we're all going to go fish.
There you go. Now you're not going to pull a ringer and bring Doug.
We might.
Like on your boat?
Yeah, we might have to bring some different people in when we get.
People are going to throw the yellow flag. Go, no, wait, time out.
Yeah. And then, we were talking about that earlier because, you got PICO Lures.
That's right.
I use PICO.
There you go.
I do. I because of Doug.
Right.
Doug actually taught me how to pull crankbaits on Kentucky Lake because he's been doing it for so long.
Right.
And, he's buddies with Mitch and all this
Right.
and that, and I buy them like everybody else does, and I'm glad to have them because they work. I use a lot of them. I got my colors. That ain't
There
the
you
one
go.
he's using.
Beach ball.
That's not my
Yeah.
color, but I got my color. I'm not even going to tell what they are. I don't want
Oh,
Doug. I don't want
what?
Doug using my colors out there. He's guiding on my stuff, you know.
That's our segue into Tackle Time. Tackle Time sponsored by PICO Lures. Of course, PICO Lures makes crankbaits, and they also make a whole line of hard and soft plastic, including hooks and everything. They also have Vanguard Tackle, which is fishing tools for anglers. So you can check that out at picolures.com. Mark, if they want to find out about where they can get mounts, where they can see them, where would they go?
We are at 45 Cox Drive, Gilbertsville, down the street from the Moores Resort, and we have people coming in and buy stuff right there. I think we're going to end up next year building a showroom on the front of the shop.
Awesome.
But everybody can find us on the internet at cornfieldfishinggear.com.
All right, there you go. There you have it. Like I always like to end the show, make sure you keep your hook sharp and your lures in the water.